There you go, Bob.
Thank you. Okay, thank you everybody for coming tonight. And those online, welcome. Tonight's meeting will be for a budget only. There will be no other items. Okay, thank you everybody for coming tonight. And those online, welcome. Next meeting will be for a budget. Sorry about that, but we're getting a bit of feedback there. So the meeting tonight will be for budget only. There will be no other items discussed. Please note that this meeting is being broadcast and recorded. Recordings will be made available on town's YouTube channel. Anybody has a declaration of urinary interest can declare it now or at any time during the meeting. So we'll move right down to line number budget. 6.1. No other items to be discussed. So what we're going to do tonight for the budget, we're going to review it line by line. That's the way we've normally done it in the past, and this is quite a lengthy budget. Does anybody have any opening statements they'd like to make, Adam?
Thank you, Chairperson Wolbett. So myself, or sorry, I should say the treasurer, acting chief Davidson and I had gone through the budget over the last few weeks. It was a bit of a briefer process than we preferred given the current circumstances, but we're able to bring this forward budget to you today. We're sorry that you only received it less than a week ago, but again, we were working under abbreviated circumstances. You will note, and as per my report, that there is a significant increase being recommended. The majority of the increase is to do with two items. It appears out as we reviewed the budget that we have unintentionally been under budgeting for firefighter wages directly related to calls, firefighter wages directly related to training, as well as a number of other items. The other notable item on the budget that is contributing to the increase is the amount that is needed to be transferred to reserves to ensure the long-term sustainability of our fleet. Our fleet transfers have wavered between 50,000 and or less over the last number of years. We find that the balance in our fleet reserve is not sufficient to ensure that we're able to purchase equipment in the long-term future. So that is why we have recommended $100,000 transfer to the fleet reserve to act as a basis for once the fleet master plan is developed next year and presented to this committee and council. So again, approximately 70,000 of the 100,000 recommended in the operating budget is directly related to firefighter wages and what we've observed since 2020 as being I'm trying to choose my words. Unintentional under budgeting of those lines. And then of course the fleet reserve. Obviously we are open to discussion on the matter and or well, any items that you would like to further dive into or just as you see.
Thank you. Gary, any opening remarks?
Nothing, Mr. Chair, just one question to either of our chiefs or others. What trucks need to be replaced next? When are we looking at replacing? Just so I can get a handle in my mind, what trucks do we have that are going to need to be replaced coming down?
So through the chair, if you take a look at the capital vehicles, or sorry, not in capital, page. And it lists each vehicle, so it shows the years there. Page 8, where we have expenses for our vehicles. It lists the years of each vehicle. And I think the line in 2015 is our tanker 8 and rescue 6.
So the life left in them?
Tanker 8's 2010. 2010 from on tanker 8.
What page you on, Will?
It says,
Yeah.
it says department vehicles, Bob.
So 8 and 6.
So typically a 20-year life expectancy.
Okay.
And we can go on either side of that if we. That's where we should be budgeting for.
That seems to be the only one then.
So that'll be our next through the chair. And then into the 2015 rescue 6.
Okay.
Is that what year?
Rescue 6 is at 2015.
So what's the lifespan of the 2010?
Well, budget all vehicles usually for 20 years.
Is that for you, Gary?
Yes, I'm sorry.
You have any opening statements you want to make? No?
No, really?
Okay, and I don't have any statements. You're gonna, if any budget, we're gonna go through it. We'll go through it line by line. And we'll make any changes, corrections, or whatever we want as we go through it. So I'm not gonna think about the increases until we're finished, and then we'll add it up and see what it's gonna be. Yes.
Sorry. I'm looking at the budget online. I realize probably everybody's looking at it on paper. My page numbers are different than what you guys refer to. Just so you know. So page 8 was page 11 online.
So at the bottom left corner of your budget, as part of the spreadsheet, you'll see a number. That number does not change. So maybe that is the number we'll reference just to be everyone on the same page. But that's on the bottom left corner as part of the spreadsheet, not as part of your PDF program.
I'm gonna have the paper copy in front of me, so page that it will mention, not the same page that I got. So you said page
It
11,
wasn't the same page as I had either.
no, and you're online. Okay, well, speak up with the page numbers and try to reflect them back to what we got in front of us. Same with you, Gary, you got, what have you got?
I'm not sure what I really have.
So let's get that straightened out
Just
first.
call out what we're looking at and I'll try to find it.
So through the chair, if I may. There's totals at the bottom, so it'll say total page 8. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
It might not be physically page 8, but it's page 8 in the document.
Yeah, I found that. That's good.
Okay, all right, well, I'm gonna be going off of this page here, so
That's the one we're gonna use right there.
page 1,
So that's
bottom left. You all right, Kristen?
Yes, you're referring to the bottom left.
All right. Okay. Here we go. Page number 1, and if you don't have anything on the page, say so, and we can move on quickly to the next page. So page 1, we'll start right at the top there with the first box. We'll go with you, Kristen. You got anything to say about that one page?
Yes. Line 1, IS insurance. I assume that's the firefighter insurance.
Firefighters insurance.
So I was looking at all the averages over the last 5 years there, and I'd like to see that. And when I take into account, you said there was an increase. 1%, I still think 3,000 could come off of that. Or the 9% was on a different one.
So this is benefit insurance, so I don't know that increase, so.
Okay, so it was the other one you were.
But there is also the EAP yet to come, like on the actual, that's still low because there is still marked more to come.
your chair for me.
Yes.
Acting Chief Davidson can confirm, but I do believe that line was also increased due to the fact that we hired a number of recruits at both stations, which wouldn't have been in the actuals in previous years.
Sorry.
Yeah, through the chair, yeah. So we have added our new firefighters to the roster. We don't know what the increase is going to be entirely, so we've left it at the same number as it was budgeted for last year. It'll be somewhere more than our actuals this year, which are not yet caught up.
I just find it a little bit, but that would be my wish list on that one.
So you're suggesting minus 3,000?
Under firefighters pay, it's monthly training. That one has a significant increase. I realize that this has been under budgeted. It was stated. And there was a significant increase in 2020. We budgeted a significant increase in 2023 because of all the certificate trainings that had to happen. So it's hard to know where that is and how much is left to do, and the fact that I believe we still have 1 year after partway through one. We have 2025 plus 2026, correct?
So through the chair, yeah, July 2026 is the deadline for certification training. You just look back at the numbers here, we've been underfunding this budget line for a number of years. I mean, we can underfund it again and come in over budget. It's gonna be what it is. I feel we should be accurately reflecting the way it's going to be.
And I would just like to see a $2,500 drop, but I do realize that we did do a significant budget increase in 2023 because of that fact. I'm just wondering if this is including all the extra certificate training is more to my question. That's due by 2026.
Some of it, yes.
Some of it. Okay.
Some of it will be caught up. There's another category here that's called custom training, so some of it will be caught in there as well.
And then there'll still be some that needs to be accounted for in 2026 then.
This more accounts for the training that will be better attended, we'll say, because our roster is bigger than it was, so you'll have more firefighters at training.
Okay, so this is regular training and not the certificate training.
That's right. This is meetings, monthly training, regular training, yeah.
Thank you.
But like,
So my
like
wish
I
list
said,
is still 25.
some of it will be caught up and through the chair, we can cut it by that much, but you're really throwing darts here. Who shows up to training and who doesn't. So you can't control that. That's not
That's true.
you just have to go by historic numbers. So
So if I may, based on that statement that I made, the next line did not have anything accounted for in it, and I'd like $1,000 back into it. Although I'm not sure if that just got added into the line above. And that was for special meetings.
yeah, special meetings and health and safety. And it's accounted for somewhere in this budget.
Oh, is that why you took it out?
Yeah, I think we had this discussion, this whole budget needs to be lined up, and there is money accounted for those health and safety meetings that we're on.
Okay. I just didn't want to get missed, and then I wanted to add 1,500 to the next line health. So the 2,500 out of there, but into the next lines, but you're saying it's somewhere else.
Yes.
So what do you want to do here, Christian? The second one down? Meetings, monthly training? Or the one above you want 2,500?
Well, I was just trying to balance it out to those other next lines below monthly meetings. There were special meetings, health and safety.
I see.
And I was trying to take 2,500 from there and allocate it to those. But the fire chief is stating that that's a duplicate and it's somewhere else in the budget.
So you're okay with the way it is?
No,
So-
because it is already somewhere else. But I'll let it go. I mean, if the fire chief is concerned.
Chair, if I may, through either the chiefs, do you have a special health and safety meeting? Or you add that into your regular meetings?
So, through Mr. Chair, we have quarterly joint health and safety meetings at each station with the select firefighters that are on the joint health and safety committee for each station.
So that money would come, their pay would come out of that line of budget then, Chris?
Correct, yes.
Well,
Page, through the chair, page 4. Title health and safety, because there's money there for remuneration, materials, meals and refreshments. And that looks like all of the activity's been coming out of that account historically. It's just, there seems to be numerous places in this budget where there's duplication.
Overlap, absolutely.
um,
It's almost like a duplication. Exactly. So we've already got money coming out on page 4, why we might not need to worry about the other one.
So we have not budgeted on page 1 in that category because it's on page.
Okay, so saying that we've had to clean up this budget before, so should we take those out of that box? If we're actually not gonna use them for the next budget, like,
Take the
if we're
boxes
gonna
out.
budget on page 4, we shouldn't be also, quite, or have a couple blanks on Mr. Chair, page 1, yep.
And I suggest that we don't worry about deleting any of this next,
Okay.
because the game plan that I'd hoped to get to last budget didn't get to occur. So I am sure that whatever decision is made in the future, when the next budget comes forth, it'll be in a different format that is less repetitive and more conducive
Fair
to
enough.
clarity.
Yeah, fair enough, yep. Okay, carry on, Kirsten.
Administrative assistant. See, there's almost a $10,000 increase in that. I'm assuming because that's a significant increase in the administrative duties, since I know a lot of things kind of changed throughout the year. Is that what that is for? And if so, what are those increases?
Actually, if through the chair, if I may, if you look at the 2022 actuals, which were the last actual where that position was there, one person for a full year, it was $37,000. So it was already over the $34,000 budget. So when you add in the inflationary rates, that brings it to approximately your $41,000.
Sorry, I'm looking at 2023.
Yes, and 2023 was inaccurate because we were without that position for a few months.
Oh, I see. So 35 would be the actual, and now it's going up 6,000,
So
7.
looking at the 2022 budget year.
Yeah.
The actual was $37,030.41. And the budgeted into 2022 budget year was 34,000. In 2023, you budgeted 35,360, but because of the vacancy for a period of time, the total was 18,000 and change.
And then I'm looking at the other years, so it's increasing by a couple of thousand every year, but you've got a 6,000 jump this year. And I appreciate that there's probably more work being done. Especially with MTO, because nobody was doing that previously.
And I would also suggest that however the 32,000 came about in the 2024 budget, it wasn't based on the actuals, because you could see that 32,000 wasn't an adequate budget for that line since 2020, which was the last time that wage allocation was under 20,000, under 32,000. And that employee didn't do less work when we budgeted $3,000 less than the previous year. So that employee does a set amount of work for the department. The hours wane and wane. Some months in the years they do more for the department. Some months they do less. but we take the averages based on their job descriptions and allocate it out to each department based on that. And although this admin staff does more, that previous admin staffs were always supposed to be doing what our current admin staff does. So we budget for that service. Unfortunately, you may not have necessarily got that full service, but we are getting it now and budget accordingly.
That's kind of looking for it, yes.
But again, the budget's not based off of actual performance. The budget is based off of job description and allocation of hours based on that.
And trainer facility salary, so it's the last one there. Just looking for clarification on that.
Through the chair, that'll be our training captains, training officers who train our firefighters.
That the fairly
Yes,
is enough.
we believe so.
And that would be my questions on that page. Thank you.
Hey, Gary,
Those were some of mine, so they've been answered.
so. Yes,
Oh, I was just waiting to see if you had any questions.
I really don't, other than one, the Christian there in the top, and she wanted $3,000 off. Are we carrying that through, or are we?
So the suggestion was to remove $3,000 from VFIS insurance.
I guess when I look at the numbers over the historical, period, that's why I. That's that too.
Okay.
Again, that's if the committee wishes to do so, we will absolutely do so. But given the new firefighters, and then we haven't added the EIP insurance on top of this 2024 actuals, we won't know we don't know how your budget will look until it occurs.
I think we need to have our firefighters have to be covered out there, so.
They'll be covered no matter what, but if that budget line is over, it is what it is.
We've got to get this accurate because we keep,
Well, why don't we just leave that for now, Bob, and go to the next page?
so leave the 3,000 off.
Oops. Bring it up later.
Get that and it up in the end.
Yeah, I've got. I've got it.
Anybody else got anything on that page? Norman, Will, or? No, sir. Chris, no? Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, page number 2 there. Start with Gary this time.
I think all of our fees are pretty well in line. I think what I see here is probably those that are most of them are already set that we don't have a lot of flexibility on.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think I'm good on that page, Bob.
Kristen?
I'm good.
You do. I'm just looking at the one there for myself, Lambton County Fire Prevention there, the second from the bottom line there. $100. 2023, we actually gave them $540. With that, and yeah, that was the highest we've ever gave them, but. Any idea what?
And I'm not sure, through the chair, it's been sort of an on again, off again committee throughout the county, so I'm not sure what happened back in 23, but
That one of the ones that Daryl hosted.
Oh, okay.
Well, that could be.
Do you have, I think if we wanted to move past that one, and I think the treasurer can probably look that up.
Well, it's years gone by, so it's $100 now. Leave it there. Okay. Anybody else have anything on that page? Yeah. Page number 3. Time.
Out there, the mayor did. Skirt. All right, inspections. I don't see any routine inspections. On the first line, I don't see any money allocated there. Why don't we allocate money there?
I expect in the past, we allocated money there because we had a fire prevention officer who was doing it and we had to pay a cost. Whereas now we have a fire chief doing it. So it's included in the salary.
And I haven't seen any historical budgeting for it, so I was just wondering why.
I know that's what used to happen because it used to be my role.
Oh, well, there you go. And then advertisement. What would that entail? Because there doesn't seem to be much of a budget in that one item.
So if the fire committee or the fire management wanted to put out fire prevention flyers or anything above and beyond newsletter or things that we do corporately already, that's where it would typically come out of. Right now, they advertise through our newsletter, through our Facebook page, for our webpage, and that's all free information. But they wanted to get flyers printed out and handed out to everyone, or do a news article or a class, an article in the paper that costs money. That's where that would have came out of. But they've been using the website and our news flyers to do that.
Well, in this line item, I actually wanted 1,500 added to it because I feel education is our. Does anybody normally do that?
So through
That's thing that I do.
through the chair, this again is advertisement shows up ahead of public education. All the advertisement we're talking about is in fact public education, so it's all captured below under public education where it really should be. So it's advertisement for our public education campaign. And it's covered under our fire prevention week kits. And it's covered under our material supplies and alarms for fire demonstrations. So we would cover that all out of there.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And I do know where you're speaking of. It just was more leaning towards fire prevention week and not kind of throw these.
But this isn't just fire prevention week.
In the other.
Material. So everything to do with public education should be under public education is the way I look at it.
Gary, anything on that page?
No, no, I don't think so. I think my questions were answered on that, Bob.
Okay. Don't like nitpicking here, but under memberships, the very top line, $450 in the 2025 budget, but it seems to be, if you look along that line also, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, sometimes it's zero. Highest it's ever been was, well, it was 400 way back in 2020, but then it's $200 in 2022.
I can speak to that. Their NFPA membership is a membership that we use. We get discounts with it. There's a membership number listed there. I'm not sure whose membership number it is, if it's our previous chiefs or not. We can check on that, but it's beneficial for us to have that. We save more with having these affiliations than we do with spending on the membership fees.
So when you see zero there, does that mean somebody just forgot to pay it?
That's what either it hasn't come out this year or they didn't pay it last year. Yeah, it looks like it's 2 years now, so.
Anybody else have anything, Gary?
So that membership, that's strictly all towards fire prevention, or should it be back on that previous page where we had all the other memberships moving forward?
These ones here are all fire prevention memberships.
So, okay, so they're fire. Okay.
Anybody else got anything on that page? Forward. Four. Okay, Gary this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Under custom training for trainees registration, we got $25,000 that are budgeted for that. Seems to be a little higher than the rest of the ones that we've experienced in that line. I'm sure there's an explanation for it, but do we have it?
Through the chair, that includes our first aid as well as our emergency first responder EFR training. We had a grant last year and we're able to do part of the department. So we have the rest of the department to do. So this number we feel represents what we could get done this year in our medical training.
Okay. Right. Going back to that first line, Red Cross annual trainers fees. I don't see we have anything budgeted. Do we do every couple of years?
Yeah, this is another confusing part of this budget. You notice it says trainees, so, we, then have a line underneath it that is trainer. So just left it out, because it seems to be conflicting there. Once the budget gets cleaned up, I'd say that line will be removed. We're looking at trainer wage or trainer fees in the next block below. So under custom training for trainers. Just seems it's out of order there.
And I see under that next line, area with the custom training or trainers, there's meals that are thrown in on that where we didn't use any in 23 and just a bit in 24. Not doubting that it's needed, but it's question to be, is that too high or too low, or is it the right amount, do you think, guys?
Yeah, I think it's probably the right amount. We're gonna have a lot of, as Councilor Rodriguez referred to, this certification training is probably going to cause some usage of that account there.
I have no problem with that. The defib maintenance under that fourth category down. That's kind of, if memory serves me correct, we have to do that, has to be routinely packed in, drilled and all that stuff. Yearly, do we not?
So through the chair, we have nothing showing in that account right now. As far as the maintenance goes, I'm just wondering where they put the pads, because we should have bought defib pads here. See, it's under training, but then it talks about maintenance of the defib. So it seems like it's in the wrong spot. You know what I mean?
$1,000
Yeah.
towards maintenance under training though.
Yeah, so
We don't just buy pads and batteries too, Will.
we do, yeah, but it really shouldn't be there in the budget,
The defib payment.
right? Shouldn't be in the training budget.
And where are you saying it should be?
Yeah, where do you think it should be?
What one are you referring to where that 1,000 should be?
Like page 7, somewhere with equipment maintenance.
Think it's in there now, Will? Think that's a double dipper. Steve Cooper?
No, I don't see it anywhere else. Like, I think it's
Just located in the wrong.
it should just be moved. Training budget and into equipment. I don't see it anywhere else duplicated. So no, I don't think it's a double.
Has its own line item.
Okay, here.
Okay with that. Seminars. See, we've, numbers are up for seminars. Is that justified? I'm not doubting it, but if it is, but, somebody go put that money in to go to a lot of sessions or?
Yeah, I'm not sure what all was put into that line, but I know we attended the Ontario Association of Fire Chiefs seminar, and it's well worth our while. It's
That would just cover your registration fees and expenses there too.
in that line, yes. I think what's happened here is it all got lumped into that same line. So lodging and meals, I believe, got lumped into that same line. What it looks like to me.
And you refresh my memory, going down the regional training center, the LC IFS rental, is that the Troy or the fire, is that the fire school?
That's a rental of the tower, that 2,000 that you see as an actual there.
Right.
So that's the rental of the tower. And to support our in-house training, where we would take our firefighters there to maintain their certification, maintain their training.
But would you do that twice a year, Will, or just once?
We've tried to do it 3 times a year. So 2 to 3 times, I'd say.
So that 4,000 basically covers the rental for like twice.
Should cover us for 3. We get a pretty good deal. So we think we should be around there for the 3.
That's all I have at this time, Mr. Chair, on that page.
You. Kristen?
Yes, thank you. So I'm gonna go back and the mayor there on the seminars. I remember speaking about this not too long ago when we were looking maybe. I asked what our was, and it was only 2,500, but 40 minutes. With this really. Wouldn't know that was correct. I'd like this to reduce to 2,500. Same as. Council. I guess we have that limit too, but I'd like a reduction of 2,500 on the. Seminars.
Go ahead, Norm.
So I'm just looking on the GL, so I can confirm that there's registration. And lodging is here also, and parking is also here, and a couple meals.
That would be the same as like for us, right?
So it's, yeah.
They're not separated either. No.
Will?
Through the chair, so. You need to look at all 3 line items. You've budgeted for $5,500 here and you spent $4,900. So it's just gone all into the one, like Norma said. I really think that the benefits we get from attending these, from getting out provincially and seeing what's happening is huge for the department.
And I appreciate that. I think we all benefit as council when we go out and do the same things, but I think we have to look at certain things where some things that we think down here. So I think. So that would be my vote. To drop that by 2,500.
If you're gonna make a change, whatever that change is, I think that line should all be compressed into one though. That's how we budgeted. That's how your training is budgeted. It includes all your training. All in one budget line, just for further simplification.
Are you referring to the 500 below it?
Yeah.
So you can. I'm just looking at minusing 2,500, so you'd still have the extra 500, so you still have 3,000.
What I would just say to that, you wouldn't be able to register and go to a convention for 2,500, would you?
Well, we do.
No. No, I don't think we do.
So I think just to clarify, Mr. Chair, that both Chief Davidson and Chief Campbell attended this year. That was for double attendance, I guess, to go to the Chiefs conference and attend the seminars and everything that's there. That's factoring in the cost for two people.
I do believe that's why the previous chief budgeted the higher value for 2024, because he felt like the district chiefs and the training coordinator would benefit from attending that conference on occasion as well. So we budgeted for 2 individuals to attend.
So Christian, you're recommending go to 25, take 2,500 off and just have one go?
I am.
Okay, to answer, before I answer that, but things change regularly. You guys need to be there, correct? And learn more going on? Or can one go and bring back that communication?
It's correct. I mean, if you expose your people to the good things that are there, then the more you're gonna benefit from it. You know the way this works, you know about good roads, AMO. You have to be there. So you have to have the conversations with people, and that's what this brings us.
So just once again, back to Norma. Norma, if we reduce that to $2,500,
Well, it'll be 3,000 until,
um, you know, when we go to a convention, we're 2,500, right? We're allowed 2,500 plus registration, which is pushing 1,000 now. So that wouldn't probably cover the thing. Not when you talk about fuel and meals, you have to buy your meals for 3 days. So I'm getting at just what is true cost. 2 people would probably have to eat hot dogs.
really, do you even pay for it?
It depends on the conference too.
Yeah.
There's not as, some conferences don't have as much available hospitality, if you will. If you cut it down to, as per Councilor Rodriguez's suggestion, that would essentially facilitate at most 1 person to go per. So we're really talking about how many people did you want to send? If you wanted to send 1, then a minimum budget of $3,000 between the meals and the top 1 would be sufficient. If you wanted to send 2, then the budget before you would be appropriate, because there's cost savings there for travel in a lot of cases too, right? Because they'll travel together.
So we're going back to 1 going for this budget? Up to the committee. Christian, you want to do
I've
this?
stated, I feel,
What's the
so
history in the past? How many have always gone? 1 or 2?
I don't know that we've have a history of any frequency over the last few years of really look back on. Traditionally, your chief officers would attend. Benefit greatly from it.
No, I'm leaning to leave it the way it is. They can both benefit from it, but it's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'll support leaving it the way it is. I think this is the way we've done it in the past. I know we've got to start to reduce some of this budget somewhere. So sure, this is the spot to do it this time, but I think it needs to be talked about in the future, but nope, sorry. I thought
That's
you
me
were-
top of my head with my nervous twitch, if you will.
So I'll support leaving it the way it is. Carry on.
the LCIF's rental. I'm not sure what that is.
So through the chair, that's the one we just talked about with Mr. Atkinson. That's the training tower at the school that we rent to keep our firefighters in live fire training.
Okay, sorry. And then the registration 1 and 2 agents. We got a lot of. I'd like to see 300 come off of that based on historical numbers,
Where are you, Christian? Sorry.
and that's under health and safety.
Health and safety.
We have any new joint health and safety committee members that would require training for next year?
So currently, we have training outstanding for many of the members on the Joint Health and Safety Committee. So we've a handful received the link to complete the part 1 training. There's some other firefighters that are on the committee that need to also get the part 1 training completed, and then also including a part 2. The fire specific section of the training aspect. So that was kind of something that's been ongoing for a few months. I don't know the status of it.
Yeah, we budgeted for that. this
Right.
year. Because we needed to get that back up and going.
What's your recommendation?
Well, I already said it. It was
Yeah, I'm just,
minus 300 from that one and. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want me to move on? I thought I
Yeah,
was waiting
sure.
for you guys to say okay or nay.
yeah, I don't. have a problem with that.
Would you like me to speak to that one?
If,
Yeah, go ahead, Will.
So I don't see that we have an immediate need for that line. If you would like to drop it by 300, I don't think it's going to be detrimental. If we get in a position, we have to certify new members. I mean, that's always, it's the way that works, right? If people aren't on the committee and we have to put new people on it and they need to be certified, then it'll be a cost that we didn't foresee and we'll have to address it at the time.
but there is some left in the budget.
Yeah, there's some
for that.
there. We're probably good with suggesting.
Monthly training, materials and equipment, I'd like to see 2,000 taken off of that.
To the chair, can I ask why? What, based on what?
I'm looking at historically, I just feel like, you probably have a lot of materials, especially this year. I don't know. $1,000 worth, I don't know, just didn't look,
Yeah,
you're left with there's still 3,000 there, sitting there for materials.
That's as of June, no.
No, I'm talking about for the proposed budget, I'm not saying take it all out. Just asking to reduce it.
No, and I was just noting that as of June of this year, we're already at 3,000, just. under.
Yes, and because of needing a lot of materials this year, which I assume will be used into this coming year because of the ongoing.
I'm like, those lines should be fairly high as we approach and finish with our certification training, so. We can, of course, try to cut there, but at the end of the day, we still have legislated to get our people trained, so. It's
I'm trying to do that.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back to Kristen, your recommendation. You want 2,000 off of that? Are you willing to leave it as is or still?
Would reduce to 1,500, I would still like some reduce there.
Which one are we talking about?
Talking about the bottom, very well, second from the bottom, monthly training.
Right.
Materials and equipment. You got $5,000 on there for 2025. Kristen's recommending we reduce that by 1,500 now. 1,500.
We've already spent 28, almost 3,000 already.
We just talked about it. So I guess my question is like, are we reusing this? Is there online? Are we creating less paper? Where is this cost coming from?
Yeah, this isn't a paper cost. This would be our training props and things like that. So a number of them we can reuse. Some of them we can't. Some of them sit outside and they just become weathered and can't be used. So there will be some we have to rebuild. Just old from being weathered. But of course, we reuse what we can.
Like the stairs that you have that were built to go up and down, the fresh air on all that.
That's a we'll reuse those. They'll still be good for a few years. There's some other props that we use that have just reached the end of their life. But what were you proposing? Sorry to drop it to.
Just a reduction of 15.
Yeah, I think we can work with that.
I think this is something we're gonna run into throughout this budget, a lot of this training dollars. We knew some of this was coming because of the 2026 deadline. Yeah. So we're probably gonna run into it through several pages. Okay, you all done on that page? Christian?
No, I'm okay
You all
with that.
done?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have anything on that page. It's pretty well all been talked about. Page number 5. Hey, Gary?
Me again?
Yeah.
Well, the utilities, unfortunately, I don't think we have a lot of control over. I think our suppliers control that. So what you got here is basically a guesstimate close to what we've had before, but I looked at the hydro. You guys haven't really changed your mode of operation or anything in that. I just wondered if that one might be just a little bit higher than what I know we're in 23, we're a little bit up, but I think we can maybe shave a little off of that one if possible. I just throw that out for consideration. Your water, tad up. And well, the telephone, we don't unfortunately have much control over that, I guess. I guess I'll leave that for response before we move on. Well,
Yeah, through the chair, speaking firstly about the hydro, that number came to be based on the 2023 actuals. And we see how it's had an increase on the actuals by quite a bit each year. So we are just above 2023 numbers. We don't have our actuals, of course, for 2024. Well, I mean, we can drop any of those lines to whatever the committee wishes. It's going to be what it will be.
Christian, you had comments on that topic?
Yes, I had it earmarked as well. Mr. Mayor. I'd like to see it drop by 1,000, but I get it, it is what it is. But I'd also like, maybe if we're leaving lights on with be or things like that, let's be a little less, more restrained, whatever, where needed, able to. But also, it comes to the big extractors that you guys bought. They were supposed to be set put in Wyoming, set put in Kamloops, but both ended up in Wyoming. And I noticed a big jump in the hydro, but we weren't sure if it was because of the extractors or because of air conditioning. Do we kind of know what's going on with that?
We can, through the chair, we can answer what it's from, but the extractors haven't been in service and haven't been used very much, so I can assume that 2 sets of gear maybe through them, two usages.
Saving money, usages.
Well, unfortunately, it's a necessity, regardless of how many fires you have to clean your gear. And we luckily don't have a lot of fires, so we haven't had to clean the gear a lot. But I wouldn't say that it would have caused an increase in your hydro usage. Based on
Do they run on 220?
those are 110.
Okay, so there's been a recommendation to shave that a little bit. Gary, that's what you would like to do?
I'd like to shave it a little bit. I don't think we need to be too brutal, but I think we can cut it back a wee bit.
Here's $1,000.
Well, that was I don't know what yours is.
I was thinking 5, but if we can meet in the middle.
800? Is that in the middle, 750?
How about you?
Okay, so moving on, so that's what we're gonna do, we wanna cut it by 8?
Are you comfortable with that, Mr. Chair?
You know what, I don't have a problem with it, I think we're, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and,
Just trying to figure out,
we lower it by 800, it's 800 more.
I'm not sure where 8 is between 1,000.
700. No, I think we're,
Don't do blue point math, so,
I was hoping there was bigger things to cut here.
$700 to 800.
Yes.
Yeah, minus 800.
Bring that line to $8,700.
I guess the way this works, regardless, and you take that box there, something's a little higher, something's a little lower. It'll average out in the end, going to be paid out of that section, right? Okay. Okay, Kirsten, what else, or Harry, what else you got on that page?
I want to go to that general maintenance for a minute. I know we spent some money on some of the painting and stuff that we had to do out there. Are we pretty well caught up, guys, with on both fire halls with the painting and maintenance work, or is it an ongoing thing?
I would call it an ongoing thing at this time through the chair. It's, there's a couple rooms that need to be done still. There's flooring for sure in one room that's presenting itself as quite a tripping hazard, so that'll need to get fixed and painting in a couple areas. So not as extensive as was done previously, but still some need.
Remember the chief's office out in Kamlaki, a considerable amount of work that was done with windows and mold and stuff like that. I think we're all cleaned up everywhere there, aren't we?
Take this one, Will, to save you the trouble. Unfortunately, part of the problem is the flooring that was utilized for the chief's office, it's peeling up. Was the type of material it was not conducive for where it was placed. So it needs to be replaced this year. That is the trip hazard.
Just so that you're aware, though, we would have spent, I don't know the exact numbers, but we would have spent a considerable amount of money on the flooring for the main room there.
Right.
That's not the same flooring. This would have been a lot less expensive flooring that was put in there. It's just that it needs to come up.
Okay.
Computer hardware. Obviously ongoing stuff.
That's correct, yeah.
Do we think about is that same amount of money, or do you think we could shave anything there, guys?
Well, we don't have anything specifically earmarked there, so it's the committee's wishes. Is that right, Adam? I don't think there was anything. But he wasn't saying we needed to upgrade anything.
No, I do believe the station chiefs will have a laptop. The trainers are sharing in the laptop. The training officer and the chief have a laptop. So I don't see any additional laptops being needed unless I'm missing one. So I'm not sure if there's any other hardware personally that are needed.
So you did shave the 624 out of the 24 budget. And you made that to 0 because you weren't going to spend any extras on.
There's $2,500 budgeted here.
So it's 2,500, 2,080 and 624 last year. So we shaved out the 624 for maintenance and kept the hardware and software because we have to keep our.
Most of the maintenance is hardware and software related
Yes.
anyways.
And the program that you guys need.
Fire.
I don't think that's included in hardware.
We might have been also discussing the tablets in the trucks. We had
I do understand batteries are all dying or whatever.
ongoing issues with those, and we're really just trying to get the system to just work. So I think that's about the only thing there that we had really earmarked.
I'd kind of like to see 500. I don't know what you're thinking, Mr. Mayor.
500 out or 500? Yeah, I can support that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem taking 500 out. I would take it all out myself because I think it's like anything else here. We've got to have a plan for this stuff. We just can't keep, okay, maybe 2,500, maybe not. Like we've talked about iPads and last year and the year before, and they were all over the place. So as a matter of fact, we found one over in that desk. It might still be over there. Yeah, one of yours. Yeah, I told them
Is
that,
that one of the fire ones?
yeah,
Think so.
that's the one that they had.
Truck 9.
Am I paying for that on?
Is that?
You can bet we didn't leave it here.
And you're absolutely correct, but I'm just, you know,
Nobody
we're going through the, like, we got a big budget here and there's somewhere along the line, we've got to start to tighten our belt here and, have a plan. If we're gonna buy computers, by all means, we need 3 computers, it's this much, but maybe not.
Right, but this is printers and everything,
Yeah,
so
I know. Yeah.
Bob, I am trying
you
to
know this stuff doesn't last forever. You need to budget something in there.
wing my cat, so.
So I've heard of a cut of to zero and a cut of to $2,000.
Well, I agree that you have to keep some sort of maintenance budget for hardware. A hard drive can go, a tablet can go. You do have to keep something in there for that type of scenario. So I get it.
I think one laptop had already become damaged is over $1,000 itself,
Yeah.
so.
So you get to break one, that's good.
So
Okay, committee, what do you want to do? 500? Off? Kristen, 500 off?
I'm okay with that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
From hardware.
Yes, sir. Yep. Okay, carry on, Gary, you have anything else on that page?
No, I think I'm done, but
Kristen?
I think.
Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? You guys, will speak up. If you fellas want to cut anything, just let us know. We'll take it off. Okay, page 6.
I can jokingly say to the committee, if that tablet is currently being charged for data, which the fire department is spending, I will be saving that momentarily.
Okay, Kristen, start with you this time.
I have one item and one question. So under communication. Your timer call forward, it's kind of wonky and it's historical. Numbers. And we have spent money last year, so I'm not sure that we couldn't be putting something in here unless you've moved it somewhere else. Under communications, we're on page 6, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so again, through the chair, another area that probably should be all lumped into one. Doesn't need to be that defined every time you have something. This year you start a new category there. It just becomes confusing, so we have lumped that all in together.
Well, I just see it historically, there's been some significant money spent in that category. So what is the significance of that line item?
Airtime and call forwarding, is that the one you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
So
Where did you, what kind of number did you come up with and where did you stick it?
there's nothing budgeted there,
Oh, you budgeted nothing.
right? It says 0 for.
I know, I'm just asking you if you
Yeah.
put it in another line.
Adam?
Would that have something to do with the changeover from Wellsburg to Sarnia? Since maybe that was a different fee built into that contract, since we stopped paying any fees in that line in 2023. And well, something snuck in there in 2024, but we'd have to look up to see what that was.
Yeah, that's where I understand. Yeah. So these numbers then switching from Wallaceburg to Sarnia. Those fees no longer will exist traditionally, you're saying? Because the next line we have significant, I believe, do we? For the service maintenance agreement. In 2023, it was 32 was our actual So, is it
Uh,
to implement?
So we looked at that, Norm looked up the billing for it. That's your Lambton County towers. And we have paid so many installments on it and we have so many left, which takes us to from that 8,700 to the 15,000. So that's how we came up with that number.
That included a lightning strike last year.
So we have more payments left than 87
Yes. Yeah,
this year.
we'll have the last quarter, I believe, to pay still.
For this year. So why do we have 15,000 for next year? Because we still have to pay next year.
It'll it will make our that 87 in our actuals for 2024 up around that 15,000
So we under budgeted.
in 2024, yes. By the looks of it. And probably to do with the fact that the systems, the like new system, and you can see the actual for 2023 was 32,000,
Yes.
which would be the switch over. So when we went to digital. So some new norms there, but it's gonna be out of whack for a few.
Well, you said this was towards payment. No,
Sorry.
I thought you said this was for payment, some sort of payment for new towers.
Yeah, we pay to the county for not new towers, but for the existing towers for the agreement with the tower usage.
So, is it gonna cost us 15,000 going forward and 32,000 was some sort of an anomaly?
That's right.
And that's a permanent fee? And when does it come up for renegotiation?
No idea. Yep.
It'd be nice to know how long we're gonna pay 15,000 for before it might want to renegotiate or something.
Yeah, it'll be done, excuse me, through the county, like all the departments in the county will be on the same program.
Is that for them?
Oh, you have. Gary?
I have nothing else on that page. I have pagers. I see that we budgeted for $4,000. Are we into that cycle? We're gonna be replacing pagers? Or do we, it's not like we had to do with the helmets where everything changed all at once. We have a rotational basis, so many per year, or where's that sit, guys?
So through the chair, this line item also accounts for other things other than just maintenance. It includes portable radio batteries as well. So we are currently at a state where all of our portable radios have batteries that are out of date. Lithium ion batteries only have a 5-year shelf life. Now we've been notified that all of them are at that age. We're starting to have some communication issues, so it's being addressed by our provider that we need to start replacing them. So what I've budgeted in there is $4,000 will include some pagers and some portable radio batteries. We have a couple of different versions of these radios, so the pricing is a little different, but they average out around $200 a battery.
So will that be an ongoing expense till you get them all replaced then for both stations?
Yeah. Yeah. There's 24. Just in my. Yeah, I was just seeing if I could get you a total on how many we had, but about 24 per station. So. Yeah, we want to cycle them and ultimately we'd like to get on a life cycle that's not, they're all due this year. Should have a better life cycle for everything we have that's. Rotating them so that we can, if it's a 5-year cycle, we can split it over in fifths, right, for 5 years.
You think you can head for that direction with that?
Yeah.
I like to cut, but I see with the reality of the situation, you have to replace that.
Yeah, we won't replace them all, but we'll replace the ones we have to at this rate and then we'll slowly get to that 1/5 per year.
That's it, Bob.
Chris, do you have-
Yes, so back to the pagers, I did read it in staff report that that's what that was gonna be for, but how many? When you're talking about 48 then total for the organization, how many are affected in the $4,000? Just kind of give us an idea of what 48.
Well, they're all affected. They're all needing to be replaced. So we won't be able to do them all. We'll do what we can, the oldest first.
Asking, does that cover 10 pagers? Does it cover 15 pagers? That 4,000.
Yeah, so I don't have the price of the pagers in front of me. I have the batteries is what I'm more concerned with. I think we're probably, providing we don't have many failures this next year, we're probably in a pretty good spot for pagers. But it'll be the batteries that are,
So is it all 48 batteries your price?
So this line would also include any maintenance on pagers where these are, they're worn every day by the firefighters. So we get clips that break off that have to get sent out for repairs, or somebody drops it and it does break, it needs to go in to get service. So that's all incorporated in that as well. So we can't really predict.
Okay, so what you're
Some
saying
costs.
is you didn't pick this number based on 10 pagers right now or 10 batteries or whatever. You just said, I'm gonna do what I can with 4,000 for the.
right, it's going to do roughly half of them. Less than half if we spend all that money on
Okay,
batteries.
that's good to know.
Anybody else have anything on that page? Anything there, page 7? I guess we better speak up a little louder too. Public are listening to us and our voices are going down, so sometimes we get complaints that they couldn't hear us, so. Okay, let's go with Gary on this next page, page 7.
Okay, thank you,
Sure.
When I see under fire equipment, general maintenance and testing, and then we also talk about ladder and hoses and everything else. What, just so we're all on the same page, when you talk about general maintenance and testing, is that on all the equipment or just under certain ones like your testers, your hoses and ladders? But I see ladders, well, they will have their own, well, they used to have anyways, their own section. Is that just like your total cost of what it would cost to do all the testing for all your equipment? Well, would that be safe to say that under that line?
Unless it's covered another spot, like we have maintenance and testing on fire pumps, for example, that's not covered there. Ladders, like you already said, not covered there. I can't think of anything else that's got its own line number for testing.
Breathing apparatus, bench flow testing annually. See our numbers are up budget a little more than what we have been spending for the next few years. Is there any way that we can drop that down?
Through the chair, I think you probably could. I looked at that and I was trying to figure out if they had all of the numbers in, all of the invoicing in for that. So I understand that they've all been done.
Okay.
So I think you're probably gonna drop that down. As I understand it right now, they're done. So
If we drop that down to say 4,000, we would still have still some wiggle room if we needed it.
I would say so, yeah.
Fit testing. You've got new recruits coming in, so they'll all have to be fit tested as well, correct?
That's correct, yeah. It's about $60 a firefighter.
And
Well, everybody, so 60 firefighters $60 a piece.
So everybody gets tested every year.
Everybody gets tested. We are fortunate enough to have a lot of our firefighters who work outside of the department, and they have the testing through their work, so they're able to just provide us with the proof of testing. So we won't be actually at the 3,600. That's why it's slightly less.
So that 3120 that you're budgeted. Or
Yeah, it's just copied over. We feel it's going to cover our needs. It's an odd number. I don't know why last year it got put in at, 120, but it seems adequate.
just wondered if there was any room to cut any of that or not, but apparently. We have to have everybody fit tested, so I can accept that.
May I ask on that one?
Go ahead.
On the 2022 actual on that was like 6,900. It had doubled in 2022 to 6,900. So I'm just not really understanding. I was kind of looking for the clarification as to whether this really does need a reduction or not.
So 2022 was the last year where every firefighter was fit tested. The numbers from last year were a handful of new hires and 2023, yeah, so the bulk of the fire department was completed in 2022. So those are all coming due this year to be retested along with all the new firefighters.
So in saying that, is it budgeted enough?
Yes.
From 6,900 to 3,120.
So I priced it from a new vendor, and that's the price.
Very young, Gary. The turnout gear, cleaning, repairs, sessions, I think. Dr. Rodriguez talked about some of that earlier. Is this, I guess although what she talked about was the machine for washing the gear. This one here is what would that not be covered under this line as well?
Yeah, I had a look at that because I also thought that maybe we could have some more reduction there, but so an advanced cleaning for our gear, every year, every piece of gear has to go out for an advanced cleaning. It gets certified by a third party. It's part of the NFPA standard. It's $110 per set of gear. So 60 firefighters brings us to that $6,600 that you see there. That still means, well, what it means is we can trim it a bit. We saw we're already at $10,890 in the actuals. So we're proposing that we're not going to send them out more than once a year as we have to now. When the gear's dirty, we can clean it in-house. That's a savings that we're seeing from having those extractors in-house.
So basically you're saving $4,200 just right off the bat.
Yeah.
Power tools. Presume that we actually, what could you explain what the door opener, the Y association, is that the association that is there?
That's been a legacy one that's been on there for a while.
Can you get it there?
Could probably, yeah, take off door opener Wyoming Association. I think it's been on there for quite a number of years.
So power tools it's under extrication equipment, so that would be all of our hydraulic battery operated extrication.
Uniforms. Obviously with new recruits, we're gonna have to have expenses to get them all their uniforms. Do we recycle any of those those individuals that have left the departments if they fit? Do we recycle all that?
We do, yeah, whenever possible, we recycle what we can, yes.
I see that our numbers are down last few years' actuals, but then again, now that we're adding new recruits, it's gonna have to go up then.
So, yeah, through the chair, I just have a note here that I'd written earlier and the district chief Freer can probably add to this. We're gonna be really close to that with what we have gone out for and ordered already. We'll be close to our budget number on our actuals at the end of the year.
So we had 11 new firefighters, 11 new recruits were outfitted or were measured and the order's been placed. As well as the previous recruitment from 2 years ago that were hired. Were also fitted for station work because they hadn't been fitted yet. And then there was a handful from prior to that, plus any other firefighters that had worn out pants or a shirt. It was opened up if they needed a replacement piece of apparel that they could get that replaced as well.
So that encompasses more than just the one package.
Yeah, so the new recruits are getting, you know, essentially this with a blue shirt. Yeah, everyone else would be just if they need a replacement piece to, because my original station wear was roughly 10 years old, along with many other firefighters, so they're well worn.
Kristen?
Expand on that. So, what you're speaking to is in this year's budget and we budgeted for it. So what are you anticipating that next year? Just,
So what we were not able to accomplish this year was to get everyone the gear that they required, the uniform replacement. So some of them were able to come in and get, new pants if they had ripped pants or worn out pants, and shirts. And what we didn't even begin to touch was our dress uniforms. So what District Chief Freer is referring to was, our dark blue, station wear shirts and pants. So there's a number of alterations and updates that need to be made to our existing uniforms to represent proper ranking and perhaps different sizing for some people as they age. So the next stage of this is to get our existing members caught up on their station wear and then start to get some of the uniform dress type uniforms dealt with.
so you're looking at a cycle management.
Yeah, it won't be all inclusive. It won't get everything done, but it'll just keep, like you said, a cycle management.
Yep.
Merit call.
Anybody else have anything on page 7? Okay, on to page 8. Kristen, is that you this time?
I have a lot on this page. You're probably gonna go. I'm trying to just look for safety. Number 1. 2020 Rosenbauer. Safety inspection has never historically been the number that you're seeking. So I was looking for like a $500 reduction on that, unless you can.
So through the chair, I can speak to that. We have been informed that all of our safeties for all of our commercial vehicles is going up. We don't have an exact number. So if you'd like to drop it by 500, we can certainly do that. We're going to be at the mercy. They have to be safetied. We're just projecting that we think that's where it's going to land, but we really don't have those numbers at this time. So.
Well, historically, it hasn't gone above the tooth.
Right, but there's a whole new system, so they're going to be charging more.
Right. So you think $1,000 more?
We do, yes, but if you'd like to drop it by 500, we can do that, and at the end of the day, they're gonna get safety, so. So.
Chief Davidson gave me an update and I also talked to Public Works and they reiterated it. So they're going to a digital system where the mechanics are actually required to take videos, pictures, upload them to the MTO, which means that they'll have to have computers and software as per the MTO, so that we're all anticipating a notable increase. Is it a $500 or $1,000 increase? We don't know yet, but we're anticipating a significant increase, unfortunately.
So do we only have one place that does safety checks, or are there other businesses that can do it?
Well, there's going to be less places. We traditionally support our local garage, which gives us excellent service. They really work with us and make sure our vehicles remain in service and we can go down there and pick it up if we need it in an emergency. So that's a huge benefit to us. We're all hearing that there's going to be a number of their competitors who are going to be out of this business now. So they're going to be that much busier. They have apparently said that they will support us as existing customers before they overextend to others. So I think we're at the right place, getting our service done at the right place, and they're going to give us the best price they can.
So just to comment there before I give it back to Kristen, that's $1,000 per truck we're talking about here now. Increase, right? Not just one.
Well, so it was, 1,000, yes, it was $1,000 increase per truck, which I noted on every one of
Yeah.
but I wanted to cut them all back. Because they didn't understand why.
Can I make a suggestion through the chair? I've also added in here to have each truck undercoated, which is very good fleet maintenance, in my opinion. To continue with that protects our fleet. But we didn't at the time have exact numbers. So you have some room in the next line, the maintenance expense line, where you could probably get your $1,000 there.
To what, the undercoating?
On each of the maintenance expense lines.
I was cutting 1,000 from each of the maintenance expenses, but maybe in a different way. You're suggesting, but that's fine.
So again, you can cut back on the safety checks if you like. But we expect they're gonna go up significantly.
No, and if you find that there's another light that we can still cut that from each one. I don't know, that's great. In a different category, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's. If you're looking for $1,000 in those groups of categories, I think that's where you could probably find it.
Well, to be honest with you, in tanker number 2, I wanted to add $1,000 into your maintenance expense because it seems to go over. I mean, I'm actually worried you didn't budget enough.
Right.
Unless it's done being fixed.
It's only done being fixed if it's done being broken. Let me look at my crystal ball.
Yeah. Some of these vehicles too, we had trouble with the computers on some of them. So when you look at some of these years, it's going to be a little misleading, especially that one. Remember the computer kept.
It was just in it's probably not even on here yet, a week ago for a computer issue. Again.
It was down.
On tanker 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's like overall, I mean, it's 2016, but it's had some pretty significant expenses and you're telling me it's gonna be even higher. This year than the previous years, and yet you're only budgeting 1444, so I'm a little concerned about that. Like I said, if a computer issue that's been reoccurring has been resolved, great, then we kind of feel better about that. I don't know.
Every time it's repaired, it's assumed it's resolved, right? So. But I would, we could take a bit off of that maintenance expense on at least some of them, if that makes you feel better.
Let's do that and add it up and see where we're at. With all of them.
Okay, so what are we proposing to come off each maintenance?
Let's go one section at a time. So I think I am hearing a general consensus cutting the safety inspection to $2,500 for each vehicle. Okay, so let's caught up on that first. So now we're talking maintenance. We've identified a shortcoming in one truck. And the other trucks are faring better. So did you want to bump up truck to tanker to based on the actuals $3,000
Yeah.
and cut a little from the others? Or did you want to bump that up to 2,000 and cut 500 out?
That would be my suggestion, but
Yeah, that's fair.
Or round it down to a nice even $1,000? Sorry. I was looking at pumper 3 for the round down. Cause it was $1,000 up. 1,040 this year.
I mean, I really don't think we can cut anything from truck 5. You only got 720 there.
You can't.
6. Yeah, you could definitely. It's had its fair share. But yeah, we can take some.
Did we change bumper 1 maintenance expense?
Not yet.
We're just kind of looking at them overall and then we'll. recap. Suggestion.
I'm just trying to keep moving so I don't miss my 6:30 meeting.
You gotta-
Oh, you're gonna be one. No, I'm kidding.
We're doing OGs.
Oh,
Jeez.
6:30 meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, this budget never.
Oh,
I can run through pretty quick if you'd like.
we can do.
It's fine.
Okay, so. Which truck do you want to cut from?
Well, tanker 2, I think we can on the maintenance. Pumper 3,
Cut from tanker 2, you said, or add, because that was the one you wanted to add.
I'm sorry, add, yes.
How much are you adding there?
Well, I think we should add at least 1,000, but maybe not. Why don't we just split it in the middle?
For ease of typing, do you want to just make it an even $2,000 then?
Yeah.
And which trucks would the committee as a whole like to take out of?
For maintenance,
Yes,
so I say pumper 3, you take off. You take off a bit.
Pumper number 3 is gonna be sold, right?
So that line, in the chair, that line is going to be replaced with the new aerial.
Right.
So it's ladder 3. It's gonna cost us $500 roughly to undercoat it. Plus any other expenses. So you left $800 in that account.
Is this
Probably be pretty good.
undercoating something new?
No, it's not something new. It's something that perhaps hasn't been getting done as often as it should be. But it saves our fleet.
So historically, it has been done.
2021 was the last year it was completed.
Oh,
Public Works, Anley brings in a contractor to the yard and they do it in place. So that might be helpful too, because when they're done at our yard, they can either bring the trucks there.
So we do that here. They come right to the hall.
So like getting back to pumper number 3 there, that truck should have been all safety checked just very recently, right?
so this is going back to the new ladder.
It'll need a safety next year.
And pump tests and.
Yep.
In the budget year, that will need it.
Okay, so where are we at?
We're number 4, rescue 4, any maintenance off of there?
But a huge expense.
Yes, it certainly does. I would say no, and no to. Truck 6. Looks pretty tight. But we can certainly take some off our QA if you want.
What do you want, take 500 off each one?
No, because some of them are really tight on their maintenance budget as it is. I would want to increase. To be quite honest.
Where are we at then? What, add or up, or tell us which ones you wanted off and.
I wouldn't see any others.
Okay, so leave maintenance as is then.
Oh, besides the ones I mentioned,
Sorry, and that's what we're just trying to confirm because we've been back and forth.
well, I was going down succinctly. Where you guys go?
So through the chair, can I just get this back on track for
I
this?
think there was only just one.
Number one, maintenance expense, are we gonna leave it at 1,500? That. Any wishes?
Upper one.
Yeah, it's the first one.
Yeah, 920 currently.
We're at $1,500. On that line, are we gonna reduce it?
It's 50, suggested 1,500s, in the budget it's 920.
Oh, it must have changed since I, okay. Sorry, I'm looking at my sheet with my notes.
So that one would stay.
Okay.
The bumper tanker 3 is the one I was suggesting an increase. On the maintenance.
That's the new ladder truck.
Right. Tanker 2.
Thought you said pumper 3, so.
You said add 500 on that one?
Rounded up to 2,000, I think was the
Yes.
last conversation, so. Just so we're all clear, council as a whole is willing to up maintenance expense on tanker 2 to $2,000.
Yeah, but I don't know what Bob is. Gary?
So. Hey. It's not maintenance expense, or we're talking, safety.
Maintenance.
Okay.
I think everyone was in agreement with lowering the safety to 2,500.
Yes, I'm
We're
agreeing.
only talking maintenance
Yeah.
now.
Right. Well, number one, you never have a, you don't, your crystal ball doesn't always dictate what you're gonna have for maintenance costs. I would really, although I want to cut, I really don't want to leave us hanging if we have something major happen. Our vehicles are still fairly good. I like the idea of the undercoating. I think that's gonna be, help us a bit.
So this was just a suggested increase to the maintenance on tanker 2.
What number
To a $2,000 even.
versus the 1440? Yes, I can go with that.
And I don't think we were suggesting taking anything away from any, because they were all pretty.
Oh, sorry if I misunderstood, thank you.
Well, it was fire chief who suggested it, but I see them as all being very tight.
I mean, Mr. Chair, the diesel question I've always had, now you're buying the diesel in bulk and having our own tanks, that's saving us some money, correct? Did we start that in 22, guys? Do you remember?
2021 or 2022, I can't remember.
Okay, so where are we at here, Adam? What have you got added up here on,
So we've reduced all the safety inspections to $2,500.
yep,
And you've rounded the maintenance expense for tanker 2 to $2,000. That's the only change I have for department vehicles.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 3, 8, or third, 8, so 8 times 500.
$4,000 savings.
Minus 4,000 there. And you're
Plus
adding,
5.
pardon? And you're adding, going up to 2,000 on tanker number 2. $660. Okay, anything else on that page? Gary?
No, I'm done.
I think you've pretty well covered everything I was moving on. Oh. All right, general maintenance, circle check, $500. What? It costs $500 to walk around the truck.
Time.
Pardon?
It's an hourly rate.
Okay, what? Like it don't make sense.
2, 3, 4, 5, 7.
I mean, I'm sure you do a circle check every time you get in.
Yeah, it's not through the chair, it's not the labor for the firefighters to do the check. It would be. I know in the past we've bought pedal, you're gonna check your brake stroke indicator. You have to push the brake pedal down. So there's a device that we bought in the past for that, which I assume came out of that account. I can't verify that, but that's what I would see things like that coming out of. Things that you need to do your circle check. Again, probably a line that should get gobbled up in general, just the other general maintenance.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest, gobble it up somewhere else, but it don't read right and don't taste right, so. I would suggest we eliminate that 5.
No,
I think every time they go into a truck, or at least when I was driving a truck, you do a circle check.
And again, it's not for doing the circle check. It's the equipment that they may need.
Maybe just that wording needs changed and that line to disappear.
It's 20 years ago, it probably had a reason for being there.
Yeah, that's all I had on that page. Yes.
Sorry, I just missed one, under, thinker number 8, and it's kind of a historical thing, but it's such an oddball. The phone gas. It's noted at $17,000 when it's never been more than $700.
Where are you at? Kirk?
On 2020.
Yeah, like that's a,
Maybe they put pump replacement or repair under the pump test specs 4 years ago.
is that what they cost? It's such a.
So to stay on our current headache of your budget, counselor and chairperson will have suggested that we delete the $500 circle check and that any tools and or materials needed for circle checks be included under general maintenance.
Yeah, so through the chair, when I look back at this, like if you look at the way the budget's laid out, you're talking about a general maintenance category under department vehicles. If we go back, we're talking about fire equipment where we have a general maintenance account. So you're gonna get things like windshield washer fluid, all that stuff that you can't earmark for a specific apparatus in this category. So it's just needs to be renamed, but you do need something in there. You're going to.
Tire pressure gauges.
To save time, I
Yeah,
agree. I'm not going to.
it makes sense to have a general account. So,
You just don't read right.
right, it's got too many things written in it.
Okay, let's just leave.
Should we
Should just
clarify
be-
the description, like
Yes.
general maintenance,
Just delete circle check and
like fluids, consumables type of thing?
Go. Into general maintenance somewhere. Okay, I didn't have anything else on that page, so.
really could just be under vehicles, general maintenance instead of a line of zone under general maintenance.
Yeah,
But we can clean up that mess next time.
yeah, absolutely.
When we publish the report, it will be general maintenance, truck maintenance.
Thank you.
Okay, so it looks like 4,000 off of that page,
3,500.
Yeah, we counted one extra.
but I said 7, you said 8.
I miscounted. You were right.
That's what I thought, but I'm gonna
I think
argue
I
with you.
counted. the other one.
Okay, anybody else have anything in that page? Okay, page 12, or pardon me, page 8. Yeah.
1932.
Yeah, 1932 MP.
Oh, it's on it.
How are we doing with that?
It's progressing. We're just waiting for the engine install.
That's it's here, right? AJ? The engine's
The
done.
engine's
the
being
only-
already-
Yeah, but there's a line under capital for it,
Yeah, so that was gonna be my question.
under capital.
Where's the money?
Sorry,
Under capital.
under capital. Whatever that's. Yep.
Okay, Gary, we're on page 8. That's the 32. Number.
But it's in a
It's
different,
in a different spot now. It's under capital.
Okay.
The expense to restore it's under capital, the general maintenance expenses are seen here.
Okay. On page 9. Office supplies and miscellaneous. Gary, you have anything on that?
Just the actuals have been traditionally been running lower than what we're showing 3,000 for this year already.
Mhm.
Sure, there's a reason why.
Spender.
New equip, new desk.
Yes, a new desk was put in for the chief.
Advertisement. Is that for promotional stuff, guys? Is that advertising for like staff?
Weird.
This is like the other advertisement.
The other advertisement was for fire prevention. This one would be for recruiting and other messaging.
Oh,
We don't go to the paper though, we do it on our website, don't we?
Yep. Yeah, that's a little odd there. Chief, anything to say about
But
that?
if they were to do a tender for a piece of equipment and it was a large enough tender that it justified going in a newspaper, that's where that line would come out of.
We left it in there because it was historic and there's nothing earmarked for it. If your wishes are to cut it out of there, just have to think about anything that might come.
It would likely just go under office supplies and miscellaneous or off or something else on if it had to happen.
well, if we don't have any big capital thing that we have budgeted for to go out for a tender, then we don't really need it.
Likely,
It's we budget
but
for
it's not just
something
for
that.
tenders. It could be any departmental advertisements outside prevention and safety. But if it's it's likely something you can cut.
Anyways, I don't know. I don't see any reason why that needs to be left in there at all. It's really in an odd spot. If you're gonna put it in advertisement, put it somewhere else.
Sounds good.
And Gary had mentioned the line 1 office supplies, which I would like to see also toned back. Since those big expenses were done.
So this 3,500 in office supplies, you said that's for a new desk?
No, that was this year.
So that account had some new equipment out of it. Each time we have a change at the top, we tend to have some more need for office supplies, which is some of the reason why that was left there. The other was as you all got to feel the chairs at the Kimlaki station, they're hard to sit in. So we want to slowly try to replace those.
So this would go towards replacing the training chairs at the community at the Canlaki Hall.
Absolutely. Okay. Anything else, Gary? Anything there?
No, just I totally support service recognitions and tributes. Do we have many guys that you know offhand that we're gonna be needing that much money? It's nothing major, but if we can just whittle her a little bit.
It also goes to their staff appreciation events.
Okay, that's fine. No, that's all I have, Bob.
Is 5,000 enough?
No.
You 60 firefighters. We had what, 25, maybe more, maybe 30, 40 bucks for.
Just a reminder, all the Christmas party is paid for exclusively from the general budget now. So that's not
Okay.
budgeted here. This would, for this year, for instance, this would cover Scott's golf tournament. And because it was a tribute for Scott and it was Appreciation Day.
Scott didn't have it.
But those are the kind of items that would come out of it. So typically that $5,000 would cover a appreciation event for the department as a whole and any recognition that comes out of it. So
Anything else on that page, Gary?
That's all.
Anything else on that page? Okay. Okay, page number 10. We'll start with Kristen this time.
So. The pictures. So this is where I asterisk beside it because we talked about pagers previously and we're talking about pagers. today.
Yeah, sorry, so pager repairs back
Mm-hmm.
there, new pagers here.
Right, so that's kind of what I was seeking clarification for on the first time, but. Got kind of confusing, so we've got 4,000 for pager repairs and now 7,000 for pagers.
So they're roughly $600 a piece per pager. With the 10, 11 new recruits, we need to purchase pagers for them. We've only got us a couple, I've got about 5 spares currently, which are currently being swapped out as other ones get or come in broken, go for repairs to come back. So we have a handful of loaner pagers. So this is a capital purchase to purchase new pagers
Right.
and replacing some of the ones that are breaking in the older style ones that we have.
So about half the batteries, or most of the batteries were getting replaced with the 4,000.
Batteries in our portable radios
Oh.
and general maintenance on pagers, battery, like pager batteries, that type of stuff. Yeah, so this is a capital purchase for pagers only.
And so do you know how many you're getting?
We
Or
would,
is it, you're just want 7,000 and buy as many as you can?
yeah, we would be, there is a bunch to replace as well as purchase new for firefighters, for the new recruits.
So do we anticipate that next year too, to kind of catch up or
That is,
partial? Or recycling?
We should be working towards bringing the number down as we go on and not buying a whole bunch in one year. So cycling more through so many. We don't have these big spikes up and down.
I expect this number to drop in.
I do, it's just so hard to budget for when you see it's in the budget in a few different places. We're gonna see it again here. So doesn't make the process any easier.
So bear with us. Because we keep seeing duplicates. Turnout gear. Bunker suits, PPE. Obviously a significant jump there. I'm sorry, not a significant jump. I was seeking clarification on as to, is that a yearly? Like there's $40,000 needed every year?
Again, there needs to be some life cycle management done here, so. Speaking of bunker gear, all PPE is good for 10 years. So we're in a bit of a traditional spike where we have things that are starting to all come due at the same time. So we'll have years where we're up and years where we're down, and we need to get it back. So I think 40,000 is accurate, but we need to work towards spreading it out. So as we go past this year, then it should start to come down.
How do you do that when it was gonna be bought at the same time? How do you?
Start to replace stuff early. It's the only way to do that.
so if we have roughly 90 pairs of bunker gear, so we've committed to having 1.5 sets of bunker gear for each of our firefighters. So that from 60 firefighters, we have 90 sets. 90 sets over 10 years is 9 sets per year. So you're looking at roughly 30, you're over 30,000 to replace 9 sets each year. Can't remember the exact cost per set of bunker gear. It's over 3,500
Yeah, about
per per set. So the idea is to start replacing a continuous amount every year. Instead of having 1 year, 15 sets get replaced. And then another 10 the next year, where you can have multiple all at once.
So you're pretty close. You know, right now then. And then I had a question about bunker boots, because we had, is this you trying to do the life cycle management, because we just replaced a bunch in this budget? So is this trying to keep it more attainable at 5,000 a year now?
Correct. So with the main purchase that was late last year and carried over into this year, that took care of the 30 pairs of bunker boots or boots that were expired. So that got everybody up to speed, and then we have a number of boots that are coming due in the next few years from additional purchases that took place after the bulk order was done 10 years ago. So right now we're at a
Get
point
it back
where,
on track,
yes,
keep it more stable at this 5,000. And then the 6240 for helmet. So that can be the number we can expect going forward. So keep it stable.
Yeah, we've seen a significant increase in helmets. I would suggest that going forward that what you would see is a PPE line, and then we would manage it so that you don't see all these ups and downs. We could manage it as a category. What would make more sense than coming with gloves and boots and everything all defined out here. Our helmets have increased in price. We've recycled as many helmets as we can, and we are getting new, what they call soft goods packages to put inside the old helmets so that they're, clean for new people to wear. But we're almost to the end of our older style of helmets. And they're just a lot more expensive than they used to be. So we'll start to see that even out, I'm sure, as well.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I do remember the previous chief discussing that with those inserts. Then apparatus equipment expenditures, the nozzle replacement. So it looks like we really haven't, again, that's a cycle management issue.
Yeah, well, so we budget. It's not too often that we buy new nozzles now. We are in fairly good shape. The exception to that would be is when we have one fail and we can't repair it. So it wouldn't come out of the general maintenance for equipment then, and when it would come out of our capital to just replace that nozzle. So, I think we should be budgeting something there in case we do have a failure. That's happening.
Okay. The hose replacement, I think I saw that in a different. Capital versus
Yeah, I
budget.
think it's not back in maintenance.
No, I think it's upcoming. It's on the next page. It's under capital instead of. So we didn't budget here, but you. New budget. 24.
It's a weird line.
I was just thinking,
Hoses, iPads, phones,
I know,
etc.
I know, right?
Everything lies in between a hose and an iPad.
I know, I was just like, okay.
yeah. That it, Chris?
So sorry, if we go back to hose replacement, you did have an expense in there. 7,600. But then also have it in under the capital, which obviously is a clumped. Some iPads that we said we aren't buying, and we already have them allocated somewhere. So,
Well, I think hoses cost more than $2,400, not cheap.
but we've already allocated 7 in Like, I don't understand. But on top of that, the fire chief. This, because I believe we budgeted for hoses this year, and if I recall, I was asking during that last budget update. We hadn't spent anything, and he said that we don't need to now, because we've taken a look at them all, and
Yeah.
we've got the hangers now, and. So. Between these two hose categories, I don't know what to make of it, and what was your plan with hoses?
We will need to replace hose.
Okay.
We have hose fail. Not every time we use it, but often we have hose fail, so we do need to replace hose on a regular basis.
So should it be under maintenance or capital?
They're both capital lines, so
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
It says me.
again,
Oh, sorry, that's says expenditures.
One's new equipment and the other's
And right there.
Radisson.
I just have a question on that. We budgeted $7,600 for 2024. You haven't spent anything.
Yeah, I can't speak to that, Mr. Chairman, if it's been,
He's still there, right?
it's all still there, or if we have some outstanding invoices, maybe, I don't.
Well, from that last meeting, when I asked for clarification on it, nothing was spent because it didn't need to be. So I feel comfortable that Norma will have to verify, but from what we were told, but between the two lines, which is which? Because we don't only have 7,600, we also have
we
2,400.
have budget for the iPads under the office supplies and under the operating.
Which we already talked about.
So and the 7,000, is that appropriate to maintain your hose supplies?
We haven't spent any of this year's
That
76.
doesn't necessarily mean that's the right.
Yeah, I think you could probably cut the next one.
Yeah.
Leave the first hose allotment and cut the next one in.
So at the
So-
2,400.
It's really a shot in the dark as to, we're not looking at the fact that we need more hose.
Right,
We're looking at the fact that we're gonna have failures.
sure.
And just what's happened here is we haven't tested our hose. In the past. So when you start testing hose as you're supposed to do, you'll have a lot of failures.
Yep.
So. We'll have to cross that bridge.
And without going too far down a budgetary rabbit hole, a lot of this stuff is not technical. It's not technically capital. This is technically ongoing operating expenses that should be under operating.
Right.
Because replacing hose, you use hose to put out a fire, you have to have a hose that makes it operating, not capital. So
Agreed.
a lot of this will need to be gone through in the year to come.
Good, Norm.
So I did look up that account. You have spent $3,460 on new hose in August.
In August.
It's for the $5.
Oh,
Chief, what about the new truck? Does it need any hose?
Well, that's good.
The equipment that's currently on pumper 3 will move over to ladder 3, which it has. Probably 5-ish hundred feet of high vol. And as well as 2.5 inch and 3/4 hose as well, so that will all transfer over.
Thank you. Anything else, Kristen, on that page?
Firefighting expenses to be refunded. Interesting line.
Yeah, so I can speak to that through the chair.
Well, the historical numbers and then no numbers, so.
So that's that represents a cost of an expense encountered at an emergency call. That represents a cost that was encountered at an emergency call.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, why is it highlighted?
So. Yeah, I'm not gonna say any more about that right
Yeah,
now, but we
Okay.
need a
so
discussion
I'm
on that.
done.
Well, I do believe the fire chief has already reviewed that situation, so
Yes.
I'll leave it for him to
Yeah, me
review
too.
and come back to the committee when there's a resolution to be had.
Yeah, absolutely. In the meantime, I guess we gotta put it in here
Yes.
as a budget item, right?
Yes, that's
Fair
right.
enough. Yeah,
Done. And on the next page, just so we know. that it's already money.
Yeah, so that is it for that section.
I just want to note, I know we're not done with that.
So,
I didn't want to try and move on, just try to make sure we don't forget it.
sorry. I guess still, is there anyone else with that section?
Gary, you got any more on that section?
I'm good. Thanks, nobody.
Okay, anybody else?
Okay, so we are good?
So now we're moving on, yes.
Okay.
No, okay.
We're all on page 11 of the budget. Page number at the bottom left.
Okay, does anybody need a break?
We're quite close, and I know the chiefs want to get to their meeting, so
He's at the
unless
most
there's an
important one.
objection, I'm sure they'd like to power through this.
Okay, does anybody need a break?
Someone may have to go to the bathroom,
Yeah,
not me, I'm just saying.
One, as a senior in the room, I'm okay.
you okay, Gary? Okay, all right, page 11. Okay, Gary, you're up. Yeah.
We're talking here about reserves.
Yes, sir.
Reserves are, I think, we've all agreed that, we have a program in place where we have to start putting money away for our fire trucks, because even at X amount of dollars per year, we're looking at a lot of years. Do you guys have a call? With the cuts that we're making now, proposing to make now, do we still need to put 100,000 a year way into the reserve for the future?
So I can speak to that. I'm not sure I understand exactly your question. But at the rate up to 50,000, we're not gonna be able to replace our apparatus. So we have about $5.3 million in apparatus right now, today's prices. Putting away $50,000 a year, we're just not gonna get there. At $100,000 a year, we're not gonna get there. So this number was really in there to say, okay, we gotta start putting more away and then work towards a life cycle management program to find out exactly how much, as you know, in the next couple of years, a master plan for our fleet. So we know the 100,000 will still underfund this project, but at least it gets us moving.
So what you're saying then, well, is that 100,000 is gonna set a footprint for us to build upon.
Yes, I think it just helps us. It's not going to be, like I said, it's not gonna be enough to get us there, but it's moving in the right direction, and maybe it's not a, you know, as big of a hit to the ratepayer for all at once, if we would keep moving it up each year.
Thank you for that, because I wanted to clarify where we need to go in the future. Important that we know that. My one question on this new equipment, we're talking about gas monitor bump test station. Is this a new piece of equipment that you're looking at bringing in? And what do you need that for, guys?
So this is the gas monitor that they'd use when we go to a carbon monoxide call
Right.
or an unknown odor call. Both stations have two of these devices. We use them on a regular basis, amongst other calls as well. Like we can use them to monitor the air at the end of a fire call. The Kimlaki station, their outfit that they put it into, the bump station that they put their gas monitors into to calibrate them, it came to its end of life, stopped working, wasn't new enough to be fixed. So right now it's out of service. And knowing that it was going to be a significant cost, it went into the 2025 budget. So it's to maintain a level of service that we have.
Well, those Devices are most important because I know there's some residents I ran into the other day who saved, lives were saved by it. They talk very highly of that. Right.
Yeah, it's really, it is very expensive, but it is a needed piece of equipment for our.
So then we move to the CCAN. I think there's been some chatter about that for a while. Are we still looking at doing a CCAN, and for, just refresh my memory, for what purpose was that again, guys?
So we talked about the props and things that we would use in training and replacing them, and I was talking about them sitting outside. So it's our hope that we can get some of this stuff in out of the weather. We can store stuff. We also have the station in Wyoming has a lot of stuff in it now. And we need all the room we can get. So as much of that training material that we can get out of the station and put into the CCAN would be a big benefit there. If it's weather tight, we can store excess gear in it as well. What we have now is a container that came on the back of one of the old fire trucks we bought, and it has holes in the rodents get inside it,
Right.
or gets inside it, so it's done. The other benefit that we see is we can use it for training as well.
And that would be situated at the Wyoming station?
Yes.
All I have, Mr. Chair.
Um. You call outs for fire truck reserve. You're expecting. Like this isn't revenue.
It is an in and out.
Oh,
In the past, we've all, MTO money that has come in, transfer it to the fire truck reserve because that's where we need it. So that's what we have been doing when we were getting income.
mhm.
So now that we are, I follow the same.
Right, so. When, to date, our revenue has been.
On June 30th, it was $2,000. Wait a minute, nope, $2,900. $3,919. Sorry,
Are you sure? Is that your final answer?
I can look that up and see where we're at. One,
I think we're ahead of that. Over there too. Bill out. That's what's been received, but we have bill outs that haven't been received, correct? I'm just trying to understand where do we typically expect to receive here? I mean, I've been told all kinds of numbers from historical.
All depends on how many
Sure.
accidents you have on the 402, right? So that's why they went with an average of $10,000, because if we only collect three only comes in, three only goes back out. That whole 10 grand doesn't go back
I'm
out.
very happy to learn that there aren't that many accidents. I don't want to see us profit from things like that. I mean, I've been told anywhere from 70,000 is the average to 40. Yeah, so I'm just trying to understand.
currently I can tell you that we have taken in $10,601.
All right, so that makes sense.
Can make sense to me.
Thank you. And there's a question on you. Transfer from sale of fire truck to reserve. So I understand we have the new fire truck and we're selling the Pupper 3. And so Pupper 3 has it been listed? I guess we don't know here, like what was the total cost that was spent on this new ladder truck? That came out of reserves.
The
So
pull of the sales order, I don't have it at easy access currently.
I know we were somewhere around 52, but I think there were some extra things that were going with this truck, and then
The reserve line you see there, though, is
yeah,
although it's at zero because we don't know if it'll sell this year or next year. If there is a revenue there, just means that where you see it go into the revenue, it goes out to reserve. So again, it's just a.
you know. All right, and then as previously noted, we're taking the 2,400 out of hose because that's an operating expense, really. Capital. I already have it budgeted.
Good, Christian.
Thank you.
Gary, you have anything else on that?
No, I don't. I'm okay.
So we're ready to move on from page 11, Mr. Chair.
Well, the $100,000, I guess I better say a couple of things on it.
Fair enough.
I thought, probably wrong, going back previous council, I thought we had arranged to have $50,000 budgeted for each station. Now,
Without having the numbers in front of me,
Yeah.
talking to the previous district chiefs, it was prior to the amalgamated budget of 50,000 per station, but your budget shows that since the amalgamated department, there was a number of years with no transfer because there was a significant reserve. And then we had to buy 2 fire trucks. And then since the purchase of those 2 fire trucks, it has gone to 50,000. So I can't, unfortunately, I was not involved in fire, so I can't provide that history. And that I think predates our officers here today with us.
25,000 per station instead of
but
50
I thought
I
it
was
was
given the impression that even years ago, they were putting 50 away per
50
station.
per station.
per station, but it's changed to 25 per
When they
station.
amalgamated.
And now we want to do back to 50 per station.
That is a minimum starting point that we're suggesting, yes.
Yeah. And as Chief Will says, 100,000 isn't, you just do the math, isn't gonna be anywhere near what we're gonna need to replace these fire trucks. I don't know what the answer is gonna be, but we certainly have to do something, and we have nothing, basically nothing left in reserve, right? Very little,
Very little.
very little. So I just don't see any choice whatsoever to go at least with this figure, and then I don't know how we're gonna correct it. Christian, you had some things to say about that too, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
You wanna?
And I thought maybe it was gonna show up in a different line, but maybe not.
Okay.
And it was with development charges. I'd like to understand how development charges work. I see that the fire department is constantly getting very little for an essential service. I'm surprised at that. How Parks and Recreation gets much more, and they also benefit from 5%.
Parkland fees,
Yes, thank you.
that's strictly under planning legislation, not under deed development.
I'm just saying, that they get that already. How do you come up with fire reserves receiving so little from development charges?
Cannot put DCs into reserves. Absolutely cannot. Development charges can only be used to make a purchase identified in your background study. So I can't speak to what previous management did to provide information to the planners who developed our development charges study, but you can only ask to pay for equipment that is directly related to growth. So upgrading our current ladder truck would be when we have to upgrade it in 10, 15, 20 years. That would be a DC charge project. Since the ladder truck was purchased to help offset that, we could probably easily get the planner to incorporate the addition of that ladder, or the improvement of that ladder truck under the DCs. Previously, purchasing of additional equipment to expand services has used development charges study. Buying of new equipment due to a higher level of service, which means more firefighters, has been used to DCs, but it has to be only used for growth related and only used for items identified in your DC charge study.
It's a DC charge study. And this ladder truck we just bought was identified as a need under our master plan. I don't know about your DC thing. But
Master plan doesn't matter unless it's been included in your development charges study. Your development charges are very highly regulated by the province.
yeah,
You have to do a development charge study. That study will look at your planning rate of growth until date, your likely planning growth moving forward, the needs of each department to meet the demand of that future growth goes into that background study. And then a bylaw is developed to determine what the price per What dwelling is, that goes towards each items in each of those departments. And then once the department actually comes to a capital expenditure based, that was identified in this study, then you can withdraw those available funds. But you cannot withdraw the full funds because of the background study. It also identifies, it also discounts the amount you can use based on the use to not only existing residents, but future residents. It's a complicated process.
I can see you're getting frustrated by.
I'm not getting frustrated. It's just DC charges are maddeningly complicated. But they boil down to, they can be only used for projects that to offset growth.
Well, quite frankly, hello.
And we-
It's not like we're sitting here stagnant. We've been the highest
And
growth.
we did use DCs to offset the purchase of last trucks as much as we could. The department, and I'm just only remembering for conversations from my last 10 years here of budgets. They have used DCs to offset equipment purchases. So the department actually has been one of the more consistent users of development charges. Because they, in their DC background study, left it fairly vague in regards to what they're going to use it for. And the fire department's generally allowed to do so into DCs. So they've been able to use it for general equipment purchases and trucks purchases, etc.
So where are development charges in here?
There are none in here because none of the purchases identified in the capital budget are related to development or are identified in our development charges study. So therefore, we cannot use DCs in this budget this year.
We are.
We are? I thought we weren't. Just.
Sorry.
Just take that back.
Well, I didn't mean to do that.
So we're using 40,000.
Okay,
So that's for new bunker gear.
perfect. We're using 40,000 for new bunker gear. Thank you.
For your,
So your question's excellent.
sorry. Yes, I was looking up the other information for you. I wasn't listening.
And thank you. And
Stopped me 20
sorry.
minutes ago.
Adam was filling the gap very well while you were looking.
Yeah.
So my next question, based on what you've said, Adam, is, and thank you for that, is, when is the next DC study?
If we get the half grant, we're obliged to open it up early. We were talking about opening up early, but there comes a significant cost with your DCs. The consultant at the time put in is not insignificant. But if we get the half grant, we'll have to move that forward and we'll have the funding to move that forward. Otherwise, it will be 2026, so a year and a half from now.
Okay.
Okay, so as I was saying, $100,000, I certainly support it. Somewhere this money's got to come from somewhere for this future equipment. I mean, you're running into big bucks and it's going to come all due at roughly the same time. And we supported that motion in council that
This year.
there's no reason why some of this equipment can't last a lot longer. Because small municipalities are just not going to be able to keep up to this kind of, what do you say, 5.3 million in equipment? I mean, it's, we're just a small community. And there's a lot of other communities actually in the same boat as us. So I don't know where the money's going to come from, but I would have to say that it is responsible for us tonight to say absolutely 100,000. That's not going to cover it, probably not even halfway. So. Anyways, I don't have anything else on that page. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Here's your summary page. Gary, we'll go to you first. Do you have anything on that page?
That's your totals from your above pages, so.
Yeah.
Yep. So $1,210,934.
It's whatever you
That's total.
That's your changes. Yeah.
Yeah, what's this?
If I can defer to our treasurer, what's our changes? Take that total to them.
Sorry, I've been writing it down. So you gotta.
We want a calculator right here. Here, I'll just give it to you.
Wow.
So while Norm is calculating that, if you wanted to go to page 13, you'll notice that There is $40,000 in development charges being utilized to purchase bunker gear.
Thank you, Adam.
I was more to the point of we're just not spending enough from development charges and with all the growth, I just don't understand.
It's challenging because they're so restrictive.
I mean, to me, fire is more important than anything at this point, but.
And yet some things the government's wanting to eliminate development charges on certain
They are, yes.
building
Studies
things,
and
which
other things.
puts us in a little
Yeah,
worse position because especially in your fire protection, I mean, you look at the amount of houses we built here. Fire protection is a huge thing. Just that's why more calls, all the above, more training.
So you've cut out $11,856.
you got 300, Norma? For line items, you got 300, 1,500,
1,500,
that's 800,
800,
500,
500.
4,000.
Oh, I got 3,000.
For flow testing?
I took out 3,000.
I think Gary mentioned 4,000.
Maybe I'm gonna give us 7.
Oh, I took it that he was wanting to leave 4,000 there.
Oh,
I took out 3.
so which one is it, Mr. Mayor?
Whatever way it is, Gary.
What page are we looking at, Dave? Just to give me
Page 7.
7?
Page 7, bottom right.
At leaving 4,000, so at 3,000 being.
Okay.
Yes.
Plus 3,000 for flow testing.
3,500,
3,500, yep.
6, or plus 662.
Plus
560.
560.
Okay. And minus 416.
Yeah.
Minus 2,400.
Yes.
And that left us with.
Mhm.
What is the total?
11,856.
Yay.
But we're staying in the expenditures. Before we move on to just a brief review of the revenues. Everyone is happy with what they've had. There's no lines they want to go back to.
Well,
Happy is maybe the strongest inappropriate word, accepting of what we have.
my net was 16,860. I got vetoed on a couple of items.
Oh, Vito, that's
We
a,
are at 11,000.
All right, so I guess that moves into the revenues, which we briefly already discussed. Most of those are just ins and outs. They go in and they go out to reserves. Except for the development charges study. There's development charges that we're utilizing. They offset the equipment purchases.
anybody have anything else on that?
What, if I may ask on the back to the development. Fund, what does that leave us with?
All of the spreadsheets, so I have to give Norma a few minutes. So while we wait for Norma to do that. Would you want to jump to the next page shortly?
Sure.
Mayor, did you have any questions on that page while we're waiting for Norma?
No, no little ones.
So you can see there's additional revenues included there.
Yeah.
What is refunds?
Is that refunds?
I would imagine those would be those unpaid expenses possibly.
Where are you looking?
This line 2, last page.
So there's an HST refund.
Just see.
HSD. Okay.
Anything else you'd like to get to 16,000?
How much?
No. I was at 24 and netted myself.
So other than which is not really necessarily part of the budget, getting this balance, well, it is part, but Norma, getting the balance of the development charges account for the fire department. Is there any other budgetary requirements that account committee would like to discuss this evening?
Oh. Sorry, the reserve on the pumper. So we had a time to use that money. It doesn't look like we're gonna use it still, so I'm.
The heritage one, I think it's May of next year, is it not?
Isn't it this year, or
Two,
sorry, yeah.
with 32.
Oh, yeah, it was May of this year, but I think they did everything they were gonna do under the grant already.
I think we used the grant money.
Yeah.
6,700, that was the.
Okay, so yeah, so that's.
And there's the additional money that's been. That was budgeted. To do, yeah, it was the remaining 13,400, so the 6,700 from the budget. There's outstanding bills to. Just to get the motor installed and some other wiring issues. That are being addressed, so. There will still be some expenses coming in on that.
Within that budget, and do we expect to go over then? Cause I noticed 1,000 or something was set for next year.
Sure, to be honest.
Was there not
What's that?
1,000?
I think it's 1,000 in this year
Yeah.
budget to finish the project.
Yeah, and then we're good.
I know something else I was gonna say, well, on your container. Wouldn't you be further ahead to buy a 40-footer? You know what, the 20-footer, it don't take long to fill her up.
Yeah, and we discussed that there, we priced both.
Yeah.
It wasn't,
Not a big difference.
wasn't a big difference in price. The difference in price is the condition really. The condition, if it's used or not used and,
You can buy them right in Sarnia, right? They're probably used.
the price that we had wasn't from Sarnia, but, yeah, you should be able to get them locally.
Yeah.
40-footer might be the answer.
So
See how much space we got to.
20-footer, not very big. And you put a couple shelves in and stuff. So anyways, I just thought I'd better
We
mention.
just approved 9,500, so whatever you can give for 95.
So the 2023 year end fire protection portion of the development charges is $61,540. And we are using 40 of it in here.
So that leaves really anything, but then more.
But then you have all of 24 to go in there.
Oh, 24 is not even.
That's your 23 year end.
Gotcha.
No,
Money came out in 23 too, though, or
yeah, but that's
24.
I already got that out,
Are we taking money out in 24?
40,000. So you'll have 21,000.
5, we're taking that.
Sorry, so we took out 20,000 in 2024. So, and then we'll take out another 40,000 in 2025. The balance was just under 40 as it sits right now.
It sits at 61.5 minus this 20, so that's 41, and then taking out 40, so
So whatever
Yeah.
you get this year is.
you're not gonna have
balance.
whatever's get this year. Could be your balance.
And that's what gets allocated based on some DC stuff.
Which you have to sit through in 2026 or earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah, 2026 is election.
Ugh, DC's an election year? No. We'll have to do that early.
26.
All
Okay,
right.
everybody happy?
It's a big increase, but it's needed, and I do think we're completely under budget reserve. For anything.
Okay. Gary, any closing statements? Close this down. Kristen, any closing statements before? The only thing I'm gonna say is that, you know, I've sat through a lot of fire board. And I thought we made lots of improvements, but this budget, and I'm talking about line items only, I'm not talking about anybody doing anything wrong or not. They're up, they're down, they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down, and Will, you mentioned it there, we gotta smoothen these things out. You gotta get a lot more into the planning. You get into big ticket items like bunker gear and stuff like that, that's very costly stuff. it's gotta be leveled out, because it just throws these budgets way out of whack, so. So I'm hoping to see this kind of level out. I know Adam has mentioned it before that he's gonna have a different kind of a budget in the future, so hope to see that, but we really need to zero in on this and be a lot more accurate on some of this stuff. Anyways, I think it's a good meeting here tonight, and now for the motions here, do I need to put on here as amended? Doesn't really give any, okay, it doesn't give any.
It's only minor amendments, so as amended is appropriate in this situation.
Sure.
And then as those amendments were minor in nature. Make sure it's not supposed to come back. Nope, you're good. So you
Good,
can leave the
okay.
book.
Okay, then, moved by Kristen Rodriguez, second by Gary Axon, but the report by Adam Sabansky, Chief Administrative Officer, and Will Davison, Acting Chief, dated September the 19th, 2024, regarding the 2025 proposed fire and emergency service budget be received, endorsed, and forwarded to council for consideration during the 2025 budget deliberation process. All in favor? Carry. Yep.
I mean, that's about 1.2% reduction.
It's not very much.
Moved by Kristen Rodriguez, second by Gary Atkinson, that Fire Exec Committee adjourns until October the 21st, 2024, meeting 5 p.m. Call the chair. All in favor? Carry. Thank you.